Welcome to Better Together with your hosts, EmmaLee Italia and Jennifer Morrow. When we all work together, we are stronger and can accomplish more for the kingdom of God. And now, here are the hosts of Better Together, EmmaLee Italia and Jennifer Morrow.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another show of Better Together. I'm Jen Morrow.
I'm EmmaLee Italia. Nice to see you, Jen.
Good to see you, too. Now, listeners, you're very lucky. Unless you're watching on YouTube, then I apologize in advance, because EmmaLee and I were just talking about, we're recording this on a day where my car read 91 degrees.
It was nasty.
It's nasty. We were both talking about how our hair is all frizzy, and then we were trying to pat it down really quick. So if you're watching on YouTube, forgive the hair.
This is where radio is a great thing. You can just hide behind. Unfortunately, we can't hide anything. So.
Right. So if you're listening, just know, yes, Better Together, we also talk about our hair.
That's right. We have to.
So how are things with you?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Just moving a little fast, Just the spring is really, it feels like we're kind of on a downhill slope, one of those snowballs running downhill. So much going on in May. I mean, I know the same thing's going on in Camden that's going on in Trenton. We've got ordinations coming up and, graduations, all the things.
It's one of the most exciting seasons, I think, of the church. Of course, in addition to the liturgical seasons, there's also, like you said, these movements in the church, like ordinations and graduations. And I know that every diocese across the state of New Jersey is having ordinations. I follow all of them on social, and I was seeing Newark's coming up soon with Cardinal Tobin at the Basilica.
So exciting, yeah.
Right? Right?
I mean, just seeing all these men who have said, I'm going to serve in this capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And, it just gives you a great sense of hope, that this is the future of our church. And in fact, we had a wonderful talk at our parish. Father Chris Colavito is going around from parish to parish in our diocese talking up vocations and really reminding people that it's a response to vocations that's necessary, not just, there's maybe a shortage, but just maybe there's not actually a shortage so much as less of a willingness to respond. And so that was just a little food for thought, good message.
Everybody out there, check in with your local diocesan magazine, newspaper, website, and see when your priest ordination or ordination to the transitional diaconate or diaconate, and support our men and go to the ordinations. They're absolutely beautiful.
They are. Oh, my goodness. I went to one for the first time last year, and I didn't realize just everything that takes place, and it was just kind of eye-opening for me. It was really a special time. And I love that you said, go to your website, go to the, newspaper, go to the magazine. Mm-hmm. We have so much Catholic media available to us, particularly in this area. I feel like it's just, we have an abundance.
I think that's one of the good things about being a small yet densely populated state.
Yes, absolutely. And right in time for World Communications Day.
Yeah, it's the Catholic Communication Campaign, the weekend of May 11th and 12th. So everybody, if you support your Catholic communications, when you give to this campaign, it is a national campaign from the U.S. bishops. Part of the funds raised go to the USCCB for their Catholic communications efforts, and half of it remains in your local diocese to support your local diocesan communications efforts. And I think that, it's easy to forget that when you think diocesan communications, you immediately think the diocesan website and the newspaper and the magazines. But there's also so much more. Every time you watch a live stream, like the ordinations will be live streamed.
Yep.
A lot of the dioceses do individual videos with the priests and highlight priests and local events. Those funds that you're giving during the weekend for this collection, are going to support your local diocesan communications. So please, in a time when Catholic press is so needed more than ever,
right,
give to the campaign if you can this weekend.
It's important to remember, stations like this one and publications like the ones we're a part of, they cover things that you're not going to hear in the secular press.
Mm-hmm.
They very real and important stories that need to be told, need to be heard. And if they're also, I think, way more accommodating than most secular outlets in terms of getting information out. So if you have something happening in your parish or in your Catholic school, they're very willing to help promote that. So, absolutely take advantage of that. Get in touch with them because most of them are small staffed and they don't have necessarily enough time to get to every Catholic outlet out there in order to glean information. I mean, I know some of our staff are combing through bulletins, and we love it when the parishes reach out to us and say, hey, we have this great thing going on, and we want to share it with the rest of the diocese.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So speaking about diocesan communications, one of our guests today, I'm not going to spoil it, but he has been featured on the Trenton Diocese communications platforms. But before we get into the guest, let's get into what we're going to be speaking about today.
That's right.
And that is the National Eucharistic Congress Pilgrimage. Yes, you heard the ruffle of papers, everybody. Today was Catholic Star Herald deadline, so my brain is a little fried along with the hair. So.
It's okay. We forgive it for sure. This is not new. It's we actually started back in 2022 in June with the National Eucharistic Revival. And so the second year is culminating in June, and at the same time, actually just that next month in July, there's a National Eucharistic Congress. So it's drawing together all of these faithful from across the country to adore and to appreciate and to learn more about the Eucharist. And in order to do that, they're literally drawing people physically in a pilgrimage that's taking place from four corners of the country. And that is coming right through our listening area in so many spots. It's so exciting.
It's very exciting. I mean, if you're involved in your local diocesan events, you might remember that in June 2022, when the National Eucharistic Revival started, the goal was to inform people more about the Eucharist. It was a call for renewal and to encounter with Jesus in the real presence of the Eucharist. Most dioceses across the U.S. kicked off that 2022 initiative by holding local revival processions throughout the diocese, usually one or two main places. I mean, there's been photos everywhere. They're beautiful. And then I believe that first year was on the diocesan level, where a lot of events were held on the diocesan level, like teaching more about the Eucharist and the real presence of Jesus in the host. And then the second year became more on the parish level to continue those teachings and gatherings. And as EmmaLee said, the third will kick off with a big congress in Indianapolis.
Yes.
Not easily said. I should have had more coffee. And in July. But yes, so when are these, the walks are starting in
May 17th is the one.
Okay.
I don't know if they all start May 17th, but I know the one that's coming through our listening area, the St. Elizabeth Ann Seton route, is starting May 17th. So that's coming right up here within a week or so.
Yeah. So these are people from, there's 4 different routes. Am I correct on that?
Right. They all converge in Indianapolis. So we have the northern route, the eastern route, which is ours. And then I believe there's one that comes through the north and the south, kind of. They don't all come, straight as the crow flies. They go back and forth to different spots. And then, of course, one from the west. But if you go to, I'm going to find the website here because this is so important. It is EucharisticPilgrimage.org. And if you go there, you can actually click on any of the individual routes and any of the points along the route where there's an event taking place. You can click on that, and it will give you all the details of things that are happening that day, whether it's they're going to be doing Eucharistic adoration. They'll usually have a Mass associated with each site, praise and worship, talks, and actual physical pilgrimages that you can take part in as part of the community. So, and these pilgrims, they call them perpetual pilgrims. Okay. I believe there are at least around 20 for each route of the pilgrimage.
Oh,
They're
wow.
starting, this one, Elizabeth Ann Seton starts in New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay.
And they're following the Eucharist and adoring this entire time. And, part of it's in the car, but also part of it is physically walking many miles. And they're going all the way up until July to Indianapolis.
So will this is also a question for our guests, but will some of these pilgrims be walking the entire route or taking part in the entire route? Or is it like a handoff as they go on?
I think that the ones that are assigned to each route are actually staying on that route all the way to Indianapolis. That's why they call them perpetual. They're not handing off the baton, so to speak.
Right.
But at each point in the journey where it stops, then the local community is invited to come and So, for example, one of the spots that's happening in the Diocese of Trenton, it's a candlelight pilgrimage at night around the property. I think it's the St. Mary's Cathedral in Trenton.
Beautiful.
So there are going to be several opportunities within the listening area, even out into Pennsylvania, and it's coming from New York where there are maybe a dozen places it's stopping. So it's really just ginormous. It's going to be so great.
Okay, so give that website again for anybody that wants to participate. First off, hold up. I'm going to give a shout out to all the names because I like the names. I wrote them down.
Oh, good.
Okay, so we have the St. Elizabeth and Seton route. That is the east, and that's the one that we'll be talking about because that involves us. The Marion route is north. South is the St. Juan Diego route. And west is the St. Junipero Serra route. And so all of those will be converging in Indianapolis.
You'll get it.
You think I'll get it by the end of this show?
Oh,
I'm going to make our guests say it.
So, and I'm directing people to EucharisticPilgrimage.org. It's got its own dedicated website apart from the National Eucharistic Revival. And under that, you can look up all of these routes. There's a place where you can click on Elizabeth and Seton route. And again, it'll show you all the different points along the journey.
Cool.
So you can pick it up
It's
where
like
it's close to you.
Following the Santa tracker at Christmas. Except now we're following
It's following Jesus.
the Jesus tracker. All right. Well, we're going to take a break and call our first guest. We'll be calling in. All right. Tune in. We'll be right back.
What have you done for your marriage today?
Today, I used the towel that was already damp after my shower so that he would have the dry one.
I called my wife on the phone and I told her, Sue, I love you. And I meant it.
I went from the lobby of my hotel back to our hotel room 5 times to pick up the video camera.
I took time out at lunch to make sure that we had an opportunity to spend time together.
Then to go back and pick up the battery.
What have I done for my marriage today?
Today?
What do we do?
It's what did you do?
What did I do? I shopped.
Then to go back and pick up our handbag.
What have I done for my marriage today? I flirted with my husband like when we first got married.
I made the bed for my wife because she usually does, and I even put the pillows in the right place.
Then to go back and look for something she'd forgotten that wasn't in the room either. And I did it with a smile.
What have you done for your marriage today? Try something new to make yours great. For ideas, go to foryourmarriage.org, a message from the Catholic Church.
Father Benedict Groeschel.
There are legitimate differences of opinion in any religion. There are differences of opinion in Catholicism. But in Catholicism, you expect that people will take the teaching of its supreme authority seriously. To go diametrically opposed to those teachings is to not be a Catholic. Someone in the name of Catholicism is sponsoring the destruction of human life, lives of unborn children. And they got the name Catholic on the door. The highest authority in Catholicism in the encyclical Humanae Vitae, Evangelium Vitae, is absolutely clear that no Catholic can support abortion and that Catholics are responsible to take serious action against legalized abortion.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to speak now with Father Martin O'Reilly, who is the co-chair of the Eucharistic Revival for the Trenton Diocese, and he's also pastor of Mary, Mother of the Church Parish in Bordentown. Father Martin, it's so great to have you on. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. And you just got back from a trip, and they put you straight to work.
No
How
rest
was your
for the
trip to
wicked.
Ireland? Did you have a good time?
We did, yeah. I had 2 friends over with me, so it was for a week. And, it's a wonderful experience for them in particular because they'd never been to Ireland before and obviously have rubbed up against many Irish down through the years. So has always been their dream. And it's a wonderful place, not just because I'm from Ireland, but even historically, it's a wonderful place, both religiously and also as well too politically. So whatever it is that attracts you, I think Ireland pretty much has it.
Now, Father, this is Jen. It's good to talk to you again.
Thank you, Jen.
I'm wondering, did anybody on the trip know that they were with a celebrity, since you are one of the stars of the Diocese of Trenton's Carpool Karaoke that aired many years ago?
Yeah. Well, you see, here's the thing, Jen. This is, typical Irish. We keep people's feet very much on the ground. So celebrity status doesn't really ring that well, in Ireland. People who are quite famous have walked the streets, example, Bruce Springsteen and others, and Garth Brooks, and even Matt Damon was actually in Ireland during the COVID, and he was in the pub, drank pints with everybody else, and it didn't make one bit of difference. So we're pretty good at keeping other people's feet firmly on the ground.
Another wonderful thing about Ireland.
That's fantastic.
There you go. I think I'm really at this stage of the game thinking I think Fáilte Ireland will probably have to give me a commission, because I think the country has been mentioned now in 5 or 6, maybe 10 times already.
A commission sounds like a great idea.
I think so too. But anyway, I think we're here to talk about something maybe I would like to think at the moment more important.
A different pilgrimage.
Speaking of feet on the ground.
Pilgrimage is right.
Yeah.
And but I'm sure Jesus can share this space. I don't think he's that possessive.
He's good that way.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
we've been visiting about the National Eucharistic Revival and all the wonderful things that have happened since it started in July of 2022. Over the last couple of years, what have you seen take place in terms of events in the diocese or at the parish that are kind of helping to revive and renew that respect for and understanding of the Eucharist?
Yeah. Just thinking about that, what all has unfolded over the last couple of years. And I think really, to me, there has been basically 3 dimensions to it. One is that there's a realization for bishops, priests, religious, that maybe we've been, taking a lot of things for granted with what people believe. And even in a sense, what people don't believe. We kind of have been on what I would feel a kind of a conveyor belt. We have been leaving it to the Catholic schools. We've been leaving it to the religious ed program. And maybe we haven't taken a vested interest or even attention to what actually was unfolding or being taught or what has taken place. So it's kind of a wake-up call, I feel, for those of us who are full-time ministry, for want of a better term, for example, bishops, priests, and religious. The other thing, too, that I feel that has been really interesting is that it has been an awakening within people themselves, even though they have always believed in the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist, but maybe we had become complacent. It's like that sense of if I want something, like, for example, as I often use the analogy, cornflakes, there's always cornflakes in the press. It's always there. And even many days I go, and maybe even weeks without even having it, but I know it's there. And sometimes we have probably taken the Eucharist in such a light as well, is that, especially up the northeast here, we have so many churches within miles of each other. And, there's always a mass somewhere within a 15, 20-minute car ride. So if I don't go this weekend, if I don't go next weekend, I shall go the weekend after. And it's not that people don't believe, and it's not that people don't appreciate, it's not that people don't desire God, is that we feel that God is just always there and we become a little bit complacent. And the third thing that I feel that has been really good over the last couple of years has been in the sense that opening up of the reality of Jesus in the Eucharist to a whole new generation. Because over the last couple of years, I've been privileged to speak with the Catholic principals, their Day of Recollection, and also, too, with the Catholic Teachers' Day of Recollection. So I've spoken to all the Catholic principals and Catholic teachers in the Diocese here of Trenton, and also, too, I've been privileged to be able to speak to the religious ed coordinators in the diocese. So this has been brought back home, that a whole new focus on the Eucharist for the next generation has become a point of interest, and that really many of our young people are wakening up to the fact that Jesus is present in the Eucharist. And another thing that I really feel that has had a great impact, is having Blessed Carlo Acutis as one of the patrons. And the reason for that is that he's a modern-day saint. He's of this generation, and he has this generation's interests, for example, in the whole area of social media. So I think that has really resonated with people. Now, are we getting the return that we would love? Who knows? All any of us can do is plant seeds. All we can do is prune some of the hedges. All we can do is maybe replant things somewhere. And between God and the people's hearts, that's where it's at. But I do feel there has been a refocusing. I think there has been a reawakening, and definitely the planting of new seeds in people's hearts.
Are you hoping, Father, that when the National Eucharistic Pilgrimage comes to the diocese, that you'll be seeing those of all ages take part?
I do, and I think it will happen. I think that this will, in many ways, build its own momentum. Now, we do have 3 particular events that's taken place on May 28th. It's a Tuesday evening at St. Mary of the Assumption Cathedral in Trenton, that there's a special evening organized, and it's going to be Spanish focused. So there is a whole discussion, there's a whole interaction, there's a whole evening of evangelization, and it really begins at 5 o'clock. And then the Eucharistic pilgrims with the Blessed Sacrament will be arriving roughly around 7 o'clock that evening. And then there will be Mass, and our bishop will be celebrant at the Mass. And then there'll be a procession around. But it's very family-oriented, and it's very family-focused. And there will be programs for both the youth and for the parents as well. Then on the Wednesday, the 29th, which will be in St. Mary of the Pines in Manahawkin, and in the morning session we are gathering and reaching out for as many of our youth in that area. And we have a special exposition of the Blessed Sacrament. We have a talk from the Eucharistic pilgrims, and then we're having a procession to the church. And all of this will be explained on why procession and the importance of it, and on what does it mean. And then the Eucharist itself, that the idea of procession, the idea of walking with Jesus, is also symbolic because it shows and highlights Jesus walking with us. We're not just walking with Jesus, Jesus is also walking with us. And symbolically, the procession is to highlight the journey of life.
So
and
this is very much
we're focusing on. And then obviously on the Thursday morning, May 30th, we have a Mass here at Mary Mother of the Church Parish at St. Mary's in Bordentown at 9 a.m. and the bishop again is the celebrant. And then we have a little procession down to what we call the Hilltop Park, and that was where the first church was founded in Bordentown, way back in the 1600s, whenever the canal was begun to be created that goes up through the whole centre of New Jersey. And many people, the Italian, the Irish, the Germans, they would have gathered there and they would have built that church. And again, it's symbolic of where we began and where we are now today. And then we're going into Trenton, and many people will know the bridge in Trenton called Trenton Makes and the World Takes. So I think it's really in many ways symbolic, where we'll gather there beforehand on the New Jersey side of the bridge and then process across. And really what we're doing, and the symbolism in all of this, I think is really profound, is that myself and Monsignor Gervasio will be going to St. Augustine's Parish in Metuchen, and they then too will be placing into our care as they cared for the pilgrims, as they cared for those who were journeying with Jesus and Jesus journeying with them. So we will now provide care, and we'll provide housing, we'll provide sustenance to them, and then when we cross the bridge, we will be handing in the Eucharistic pilgrims and the Eucharist itself to the care of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. So again, to me, it's all very symbolic of us caring for the church. As Paul did, and as Timothy did, and as Philip did, as they ministered from church to church in Mesopotamia and in Philippi, and there each church supported each other. our own brothers and sisters. And I think this, in a way, is doing the same thing. So the Thursday morning, to me, I think is really very powerful as we process across the bridge. And really, Trenton makes and the world takes.
Now, we're talking a lot about the pilgrimage. How much, for people who do want to take part, how much walking is involved? How much do you know roughly, like how many miles we're looking at?
I do. It's not long. It's not long. Like, I mean, in Trenton on the Tuesday evening, obviously, once they will process at the end of Mass, process out of the cathedral, and they'll just walk around the grounds of the cathedral. So really, you're looking at most a quarter mile. I know for at Manahawkin, it's really from the parish centre to the church proper. It's a lovely and wonderful big parking lot, but the walk isn't long. Mm-hmm. So anyone who does have maybe mobility issues, there isn't an issue or a problem that way. And if those who are in wheelchairs, it's all wheelchair accessible. Everything has been thought out and considered for that very reason. Even here in St. Mary's in Bordentown, there's wheelchair access. Our procession down to the hilltop, it's all on one street. It's just straight down. There's no steps or anything like that. And again, as I said, the most would be a quarter mile.
Hopefully I have this right. I think I saw on the national website, and I had given people the EucharisticPilgrimage.org and the St. Elizabeth Ann Seton route. At each of those points, the different events, you could sign up to participate in some of them. And some of those portions did include several miles of walking. So I think there is an opportunity for the local who want to get involved in more physical walking, say, from one town to the next. But there are also portions that are going to be, the Eucharist and the pilgrims will be transported by vehicle. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. We had thought about it, but the logistics of actually walking such length of time and space didn't really pan out for us. Then also, too, time was a factor. We had thought about walking from Bordentown to Trenton, which you safely can because we do have the canal there, and the canal really goes the whole way right up to Trenton. But it was a time factor. I mean, it was going to take you hours to do that. Mm-hmm. And because Manahawkin is the other side and south of the diocese, actually we butt right up to Camden Diocese on that end. So, to walk wouldn't be feasible. So that's why we have these little short processions within the church and within the parking lots of some of the parishes that we're in. But we won't be doing any long walks. Not with us. Maybe Philadelphia might be, the Archdiocese might be, but we're not.
I think local parishioners and everyone can walk across the Lower Trenton Bridge, the Trenton Makes Bridge, with the Eucharist. Right?
Absolutely. And we do have lots of parking, which would have been the old state building there, and which has now been taken down, but the parking lot is still there. We have checked it out. We have spoken to local authority there, and there isn't an issue with parking there. The only request that they ask is that whenever we're walking across the bridge, that we continue to walk, that we just don't stop, start taking selfies and photos, that we do. And we said that's what we will definitely intend to do, because it's a procession with the Blessed Sacrament. It's not about, selfies or taking photographs. But there won't be a problem in parking on the Trenton side. Now, on the Pennsylvania side, I think parking could be limited, but obviously there's no issue on the Trenton side or on New Jersey side of the bridge.
And if people want to take part in that, is that information, where to park and directions and everything, available on the diocesan website, dioceseoftrenton.org/Eucharistic-revival?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if it isn't up, it will definitely be going up. Paddy Baylog has been working very, very hard with Josue and Josie in the Chancery, and they have been updating things as we went along. I know Paddy and one of the Grand Knight of our Knights of Columbus here in Bordentown, they have been into Trenton. They have sourced it. They have looked at the parking lot. But if it's not up, I'm sure it will be up. But with that being said, it's very easy to get to. It's on Google Maps, the Trenton Lower Bridge there, and you'll find the parking lot there. But if they wanted to join us here in Bordentown and then travel with us, that would be fine too.
Is there transportation from St. Mary's in Bordentown, or you mean they can get in their car and then drive to?
They can get in the car. We're not providing transportation per se as regards buses or anything like that, no. But I'm sure there will be people there that will be able to provide space, but the question would be how they got there in the first place. So I'm sure if they were coming, that they would have the same transport to get them there, you know. But no, we wouldn't be able to provide transport to or from.
And, you know, Father,
not officially anyway.
You mentioned Diocese of Camden, so I'm going to give a shout out. You know, the Diocese of Camden, the locations in the Diocese of Trenton, two of the locations border the Diocese of Camden. So if anybody in the Diocese of Camden is interested in taking part, the St. Mary of the Pines Church, which is in Manahawkin, you know, that's bordering Atlantic County. So anybody on the shore side who wants to come down, please feel free to participate. And then also your parish in Bordentown, obviously, is borderlining with Camden County and similar. So please come on down and join the Trenton Diocese.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, taking the bridge in many ways, it's in Trenton. And even though it's the seat of the diocese, but it's also the seat of the state. So Trenton belongs to everyone and in that aspect of things. So we just happen to be where we are. We just happen to be the ones that are hosting. But it's Christ we're talking about, and Christ is for everyone. So anyone who would like to be a part of this, and anyone who would like to be there and to take part in the procession, everyone is more than welcome. Everyone's more than welcome. And even if they just wanted to come to Bordentown, or they just wanted to come to St. Mary of the Pines in Manahawkin, more than welcome. Now, we have two sessions in Manahawkin. The Wednesday morning is youth-oriented. It's elementary school-oriented, grammar school-oriented. And if you wanted to bring the family, you want to bring the kids, you're more than welcome. We are beginning at 10 o'clock in the morning, which will begin in the parish centre, where there'll be exposition. Then there'll be talks, and there'll be introductions, and there'll be an explanation at obviously that level for the children. And then we have a little procession from the parish centre to the church. And then there'll be Mass at 11 o'clock that morning. And then the evening, it begins at 6:30. Bishop O'Connell will be there in the evening. And we're having Mass first. It's a kind of a flip from the morning. And so the reason why we said we'd have the Mass first there is because some people may have issues or may have difficulty in walking or getting from A to B. So we said we'll start in the church, and at least they can sit in the church and be in the church, and we will have Mass first. Then at the end of the Mass, we will have the procession from the church to the parish centre. And whoever is able and capable, we can, they can join us there. And the great thing about St. Mary's of the Pines in Manahawkin, it's a huge parking lot. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of space for cars. And it was one of the very reasons why we chose there was because of the size of the parking lot. And it's open to everyone. This isn't a Trenton event. This is an America event. Because obviously, as you know, it is happening on the four corners, and I'm sure everyone, no matter where they are in America, is invited to join this. So,
Father, I just wanted to draw people's attention to the issue that we did last month. It's the April issue of the Monitor magazine, in which we did interview you and talked more about the importance of making a pilgrimage. And if anyone wanted to get the online version, the website is issuu.com. That's spelled ISSUU.com/Diocese of Trenton. And then just look for the April 2004 edition. We have a whole section. It begins with the page that says Divine Invitation, and you'll see a lovely screenshot there of Father Martin O'Reilly. He's done a video for the diocese introducing the pilgrimage and giving people an idea of what to expect.
Well, thank you, Father, so much for being on with us. You gave us a lot of great information today, and I hope to see you at the pilgrimage.
Yeah, they're looking
Well, I
forward
hope so
to it.
too. And thank you so much, and I wish everyone every good blessing on this Eucharistic revival time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you
You're
soon.
welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody, stay tuned. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back with Better Together.
See you then.
Hello, I'm Bishop David O'Connell of the Diocese of Trenton. This is a Eucharistic moment. The Holy Eucharist is the body, blood, soul, and divinity of the Lord Jesus Christ, Catholics are accustomed to say. It is not a sign or symbol. The Holy Eucharist is the Lord Jesus Christ, real, true, entire, and substantial. The bread and wine placed on the altar at every celebration of Holy Mass becomes the body and blood of the Lord Jesus Christ through the power of the Holy Spirit and the instrumentality of the priest. The Church refers to this action as transubstantiation. Though the appearance of bread and wine remain, the whole Christ, crucified and risen from the dead in glory, is truly and really present. The Holy Eucharist is his real presence, a mystery and reality, the source and summit of the Christian faith and Christian spirituality.
It started like it does for many people, question my faith and question authority. And I feel that the reason why I left was the draw of the world. The world was pulling me away. Some people would say, Satan was working on me. He did not want me in church. He wanted me to be desperate. He wanted me to have the thoughts of suicide. I started to realize that a lot of the things that I had experienced in my life were a result of my rebellion against God and against authority. Coming back to the church is the first step in healing from all of the hurts of the world. I went from being desperate and in despair to finding hope and encouragement for the future. I'm on God's team. I know who I belong to, and I know where I'm going, and there's nothing that can separate me from God's love.
Take another look at the Catholic Church. Visit CatholicsComeHome.org today.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Better Together. I'm Jen Morrow. And
I'm Emily Talia.
Yes.
Emily Hatalia. I can't even say my own name.
There
It's
you are.
rubbing off.
That's all right. I mispronounced Indianapolis. I got it. So, everybody, if you're just tuning in, we are talking about the National Eucharistic Revival and the Eucharistic Pilgrimage that's coming through New Jersey. And with us right now, we have Adam Carlisle. He is the Secretary for Evangelization and Communication for the Diocese of Metuchen. Hi, Adam.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Busy.
Busy, of course. Well,
Yeah.
We just spoke with Father Martin O'Reilly from the Diocese of Trenton, who the pilgrimage is coming there May 28th through the 30th. But before it comes to Trenton, it's coming through Metuchen.
That's right.
So can you tell me a little bit about, I think it's coming May 27th and 28th to the diocese, am I correct?
Yeah. Unfortunately, May 27th is Memorial Day, but but that is when the pilgrims arrive. So yeah, they should arrive at the Cathedral of St. Francis of Assisi, which is in Metuchen, on Monday evening, May 27th.
And can you tell me about some of the activities that might be planned around May 27th and then May 28th and what people can expect?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we're going to have a dinner prepared for the pilgrims. I think we've got a barbecue planned for them when they first arrive. And then beginning at 7 o'clock, we're going to have a praise and worship service at the cathedral. That'll begin at 7 and run to about 9 o'clock. We're hoping Bishop Cecchio will be there to greet the pilgrims and to give his thoughts about the pilgrimage and to welcome everybody to the cathedral. And then Father Roger Landry, who is a Eucharistic speaker for the USCCB's National Eucharistic Revival, will be delivering a talk at 7:15. Father Roger Landry is one of two priests who will be traveling with the pilgrims. And among his many hats, he is the chaplain to Columbia University. So we're looking forward to having him along with the other lay pilgrims. There's also going to be another priest. I'm sure Father Martin talked about all this earlier, but I can, speak more about that if you'd like. But then around 9 o'clock, we're going to begin our adoration. And we've just recently partnered with the World Apostolate of Fatima over
nice.
at the Blue Army Shrine in Asbury. And beginning at 10 o'clock, we're going to actually be having an evening, what they call the Night of Love, where the National Pilgrim Virgin statue of Fatima will actually arrive at the cathedral that afternoon around 3 o'clock. And so there'll be some programming that evening from 10 to 12. And then beginning at 9 o'clock, we're going to have 1 hour dedicated to the Hispanic community. So all the prayers from 9 to 10 will be in Spanish. And then we'll have, night vigil, Eucharistic adoration all evening until about 6 o'clock the following morning, where there will be a rosary and then, of course, benediction and then Mass at 7. And then there'll be lunch the following morning for the pilgrims that will be departing from the cathedral as they walk about 6 miles to St. Peter the Apostle Church, which is in New Brunswick. And that just happens to be the oldest parish in our diocese. I can, elaborate on that day as well. But
I was going to ask, this is EmmaLee, by the way. I was going to ask about the actual physical walking. I noticed on the national website that it was encouraging people to register, to sign up, to participate, and they said bring, good walking shoes. So if you actually wanted to participate in that 6.5 mile walk to St. Peter's from the cathedral, is that something that you can, as a local faithful, sign up to do?
Absolutely, yeah. So, I've looked at what some of the other dioceses are doing, but when I first spoke with the National Eucharistic Pilgrimage, they told me that the pilgrims are walking about 10 to 15 miles per day, and I guess I took that pretty seriously because we do have them walking quite a bit. So the first leg of the procession begins around 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday, May 28th. And like I said, that is about a 6 mile walk. We've been in contact with local police departments. And so we've got all the approvals that we need. But yeah, we'll be walking basically along Route 27 to New Brunswick. We'll have water stations set up about every mile or so. And, we're expecting, somewhere in the vicinity of about 100, maybe even 125, 150 people for that.
Wow.
And again, I think there are a lot of liturgical things that we could do that other dioceses are doing, but I really believe that the walking pilgrimage is a big part of this, because the point of the pilgrimage is in part to be seen and to be a representative of Christ on earth. And for the people of our diocese and people who are not Catholic, but who will see, 100, 150 people walking down Route 27, I think it's a great example, to the world of what we believe as Catholics.
Absolutely. It's a powerful witness. And then at each of the stops along the way, I've been impressed by looking at the schedule of events that, every stop seems to coincide with a Mass and Eucharistic adoration, but there's also teaching opportunities with various clergy and lay people talking, and then, like you said, praise and worship at St. Francis. And then I think there's even a tour at St. Augustine of Canterbury in Kental Park. They're doing a tour of relics and Chapel of the Saints at their parish. So it makes for a very interesting couple of days if you're able to participate in any part of it.
Yeah, and we will be providing transportation for people who, like, for instance, people who park their car at the cathedral Tuesday morning and who walk, whether it's the first leg to St. Peter the Apostle or to the second leg, which is St. Augustine of Canterbury in Kendall Park, which you just referenced. We will be providing transportation back to those venues for people who are willing to walk the 6 plus miles or what have you. But yeah, you brought up a couple other options. So when we arrive at St. Peter's, we will have Mass there. Father Jay Pavich will be the main celebrant there. And then we'll have lunch, and then we're going to get back on the road and walk to St. Augustine of Canterbury. which is a slightly longer walk in the afternoon. And when we arrive there, there'll be dinner. There'll be another talk by Father Roger Landry, but on a different topic. And then, as you mentioned, there'll be a tour of the church, because St. Augustine of Canterbury is a rather unusual parish in that they've got something like 60 first-class relics there. And so there will be a kind of informal tour, optional tour for anybody who wants to take a look at the relics and to check out the chapel there and stuff like that. And then there'll be a blessing at the end by Father J. Toborowski. And then you mentioned Father Martin earlier. We're still kind of working with them to figure out how we're going to kind of hand off the pilgrims, as it were, to them. So we've got a couple ideas. I actually just met with the team over there, and so we're pretty excited that we're going to also share in that kind of passing on of the pilgrims, as it were, at the end of the event on the evening of May 28th.
It's such a beautiful collaboration, and I love that there's not somebody like me in charge who wouldn't think about how do I get back to where my car is parked? Do I have to walk another 12 miles back?
Exactly. I figure it's the least we can do, because, people are going to be, out there walking. We don't know what the weather is going to be, of course, but, we're hoping it's going to be beautiful weather in late May. So
now, if I'm correct, you're receiving the pilgrims from New York, correct?
Yeah, from I think they're actually coming from Brooklyn that morning, if I'm not mistaken. If my memory serves, I believe they're going to be visiting the Statue of Liberty that morning, and then they're going to be arriving at the cathedral around 6 p.m. on Monday, May 27th.
So one of the reasons I mentioned that is we were speaking about how Trenton is close to the Diocese of Camden, so if people want to participate, it's easier for them to come to the Diocese of Trenton. But where you are, you're located in an area where those from Archdiocese of Newark or Diocese of Patterson could perhaps take part, especially on May 27th at the cathedral. Would that be correct?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is an event. Obviously, it's a national event. It's never occurred before. There's never been a national Eucharistic pilgrimage. I mean, the idea of 4 separate routes all converging on Indianapolis this July, it's a pretty incredible event. I would encourage people to participate. I don't know if something like this will ever happen again, but we certainly welcome people in from, all over the state, regardless of what diocese they happen to live in. We might even be seeing some people come in from Pennsylvania and other places, especially given our partnership with the Blue Army Shrine.
I bet.
Because,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
so, they're very,
so
very...
we'll see. But yeah, we're very excited about everything that we've got planned. So.
And what would you say to encourage people to take part in this? I mean, those of all ages. I mean, even when you were talking about the relics that will be available to see. I mean, that's a great way for children to be involved. They love to see things like that. So, what would you say for those of all ages to participate?
Yeah, so I mean, we have reached out. I was going to mention this earlier, but we have reached out to our 4 Catholic high schools. I know that students from those high schools are going to be walking that morning. So at least the first leg, most of those students have sports in the afternoon, so they can't continue on to St. Augustine. But yeah, obviously we want to get young people involved. There's a lot of walking to do. So yeah, I think we've tried to provide people with as many different kinds of opportunities. I wrote an article for the Catholic Spirit in the April issue about the pilgrimage. And, one of the things I was kind of playing on this movie that came out, many years ago back, I think in 2010, called Eat, Pray, Love.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie was all about like self-discovery and that sort of thing. And what I tried to argue in the piece was, that people should come to eat, pray, and walk with us, not so much to, go on a journey of self-discovery, but to enter into a closer relationship with Jesus Christ. So I think pilgrimages have been a longstanding feature of Christianity and of the Catholic faith. Somebody likened it to a, simultaneous movement of the feet and the soul, that it's a journey made both externally and internally. So it's a great opportunity for all people of all ages to come together and to, like I said, eat, pray, walk with one another, and to be a sign of God's love on earth for all people. So we really encourage people to come out, participate, to, join us and join, our fellow parishioners in this historic event.
And if others wanted to read the column that you were speaking about, where could they find it? You said it was in the April issue of the Catholic Spirit, which is Metuchen's, Diocese of Metuchen's newspaper.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, all of the things I've talked about today can be found on our website, www.diometuchen .org/NEP 2024, if I didn't butcher that. And then as far as Catholic Spirit is concerned, people can check out that article. I think it's out on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and X, but also they can go to CatholicSpirit.com if they want to check out that story.
Great, thank you. And thank you for being on the show. Also, extra kudos for saying X and not Twitter. I mean, that was very impressive. But thank you, Adam, so much for being on and speaking about it. I wish you many, many blessings on your diocesan pilgrimage.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care.
Thank you. So we are so blessed to have this coming through our state. I mean, because there are only 4 routes, and it's not hitting every state in the United States, no matter what route it is. Some people, it's so far flung that they would have to fly to go see it. So, I mean, here it is right in our backyard.
And, we kind of talked a little bit already about how densely populated New Jersey is, but in this case, it is really to our advantage because no matter what diocese you are in New Jersey, you can take part in this pilgrimage in some way. And, of course, in the border states as well.
And I was going to say, if you do take part, we want to hear about it. So I know, I'm sure for the Camden paper, for the Metuchen paper, and for the Diocese of Trenton magazine, we have different outlets through which you can share photos, whether it's on social media or if you have a news department, please share your stories and share your photos. We want to share that experience with you and make sure we get it out to as many people as possible.
Another good reason to support your Catholic communication campaign.
That's right. This is where we get the good news.
That's right. But yeah, definitely, like EmmaLee said, please send your photos and even, some maybe vignettes of your experiences to your local diocesan newspaper, website, magazine, or communications director. I'm sure they would love to post things like this.
And if if there's a group going from your parish, make sure you share that on your parish social media. And often our diocesan outlets are really plugged into the parish social media sites, and they'll pick up on that as well.
So are they I'm putting you on the spot. Is anybody going to see you on any of these walks?
I would love to go to some of them. It happens to be my daughter's high school graduation week too, so I'm going to try to see what I can finagle, but I can't miss it.
Same
it's
here.
Kind of historic.
Same here. I'm going to border some dioceses and see what I can get to. So, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to this month's Better Together, and we'll see you next time.